Memphis has over 12,000 nonprofits working to make our city a better place to live in. Memphis Makers explores remarkably diverse and unique nonprofits that make a daily impact on our city block by block. And I'm your host, Mark Fleischer. Each time I venture out to do an interview for Memphis Makers, I come back reinvigorated and hopeful for our future in Memphis. You may recognize this building as the old firehouse downtown. Now it houses both the Memphis Music Initiative and MLK 50. This week, the Memphis Music Initiative peels back the curtain to show us a behind-the-scenes look at how they invest in youth through transformative music engagement. Show me the space?
Yeah, so this is our welcome gallery. As you see, lots of beautiful natural light. We have it adorned with ethnic furnishings, beautiful plants, but just giving the energy of free expression, openness, unrestricted, acceptance. Yeah, lots of acceptance. And so this is our reception area. And the element that you'll see throughout the building are images of our young people performing.
Yeah, I noticed those when we came in, and I love those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And those are all over the building, you mentioned.
All over the building.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. We also share the space with MLK 50.
Right.
And so their part of the building is back here on this side. And so complementary missions in terms of who's in this space. This is our Who You Are board and big questions. And so as people are inspired, they just add and take away information to the board.
What you're reading, what you're listening to, what you're reading, what you're watching. And that's for the kids?
This is for anyone who comes into the building.
Anyone who comes in. Oh, okay, excellent.
Yeah, anyone.
And then the big questions, the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the big questions are probably guided by what our team or what the MLK 50 team may be working on. Those change from time to time, but the question at the bottom, what is the blackest thing we can do in this situation, is a standard question, and it's through the lens of understanding that in the Black arts space, there are very unique needs, and we have to address those needs through the lens of what those we're serving, how we'll meet those needs.
Right.
Yeah, so always keeping that in mind. So aesthetically, the design of the building, again, is very intentionally designed in terms of the textures that you see here, the colors, the images. There is a common thread in terms of what you feel when you're in this space. You mentioned that there's a light energy here, and it's all by design. And so the physical furnishings help to create that. We have a learning library over there. Once a quarter, our staff has what's called a learning day. And so we get to decide something that we intentionally want to learn more about on a particular day. So the next one is coming up in the next week or so. Sometimes teams within the office will decide we're going to explore a particular topic or read a particular book or go on a particular field trip. But it's, again, just continued learning and expansion and liberation.
Yeah.
So if somebody needs to check out a book over there, they can, and when they're done, they can take and put it back or add books to the space. We get to leave our office and come down here and work if we want to. We also have a rest room where if we need to take a nap or just get away from it all, we have a space that has been designed for that.
So not a water closet, but a rest room.
Yes, a rest nest, rest sanctuary,
Rest nest.
rest lounge, den, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it's for chilling out, doing nothing.
Right. And it's also great and fun that you all are right, you're blocked down from Beale Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Proximity of this building to all the happenings, again, I think is very divine.
Yeah.
We head upstairs?
Yeah.
All right, let's go
upstairs.
here. Again, a lot of open air space. This is our kitchen nourishment area that doubles as a meeting space. This is the conference room where our MMI Works interns are having their orientation experience. And then this is additional office space up here that also doubles as like a tiny desk kind of situation. So right in that area, we have had young people to create music, to write music, play music. And so the space is very flexible in terms of how we're able to do our work, but also do the work with the young people.
I love the windows that face the street.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
Yeah.
This is where you can feel a little bit more also of the old firehouse.
Exactly.
Yeah. MMI, Memphis Music Initiative.
Yes.
What's its mission purpose?
Yeah. So at the heart of who we are, Memphis Music Initiative, we are a Black-led nonprofit organization that is devoted to providing access, resources, and community connections for local arts organizations that give access to youth to have quality programming in the arts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's also a grant-making organization.
Yes.
Is that kind of the bulk of the work that is done at MMI is grant making? Or I know there's programming, which we'll get into and all that, but also a big part of it is grant making. So talk about that.
So we are a grant making organization who provides funding as well as other kinds of support to ensure that these Black-led organizations have the resources, the tools, the connection to make the impact over a sustained period of time. So that's considered our grant making arm. We also have direct programming where we engage directly with young people in providing them with opportunities around arts and music and culture.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you first hear about Memphis Music Initiative and for folks to drive by, they might think, oh, they're putting on shows.
Yeah.
They're engaging youth by teaching them how to play instruments and all that, and it's not exactly that, right? So that's kind of the perception that those of us driving by might get.
Right.
But in providing opportunities and grant making, you're granting small organizations to help them with their programs.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as a grant maker, we have a very innovative and a very bold approach to how we do grant making. In that we realize that local Black-led organizations require and deserve a specific way to be supported in order to reach the young people in our city. And so not only do we give money in terms of the grants that we provide, but we have a team that's called grant making and capacity building. And all that means is equipping these organizations and walking alongside them to ensure that as a nonprofit organization, they are in compliance with internal revenue regulations, that they have good fiscal and accounting management practices in place, that we support them with building active boards who are helping to advance their missions. And so we work with roughly 20 local nonprofit organizations, and we, as a nonprofit, we come alongside of them to help strengthen their ability to be able to provide arts and music and singing and dancing for these talented young people in our city. And it's a very different model than what other funders may do. Most funders are just granting a check and asking for a report, but we are here literally walking alongside of them to impact the city of Memphis through quality programming for youth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kind of wrapping my head around how it works. Viewers watching this on the Library Channel would understand how Friends of the Library works and the Library Foundation works, which is the same type of thing, is raising money to help support, funding-wise, help support library programming, helping with staff with different programs and things like that. So a lot of similarities there where you're raising big dollars to help support local programs, but very specifically for youth of, really disinvested is sometimes the term I like to use with regard to how youth of color and is treated, in the city and how money flows for the city. Yeah. So you mentioned, we talked about, you mentioned grant making. You all have a very specific philosophy around grant making. Talk about that. You mentioned a little bit, but talk about that a little more in depth.
So our approach to grant making is grounded in creative liberation. We believe that each organization gets to define what success is for them, how they reach that success, and we celebrate the unique niche in which the way in which they connect with young people and cultivate the talents of the young people in our city. And so as a grant maker, we are not telling them how to do what they do. We are supporting and guiding them in doing that. And we are building an arts ecosystem. And all that means is that all of these grantee partners are in community together, and they are in neighborhoods where there are very talented young people who just simply need the access and trusted adults who are creating these experiences for them. And so that's our approach, is creative liberation and allowing the artistic expression to come out in the way in which it best supports the young people in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, taking a step back, you know, traditionally schools would help youth in these types of programs, you know, Shelby County schools and private institutions and things like that. But some of the numbers, and I pulled this right off of the website, but you know, these numbers are still true today. 40% of Memphis youth live below the poverty line. 26% of the youth are in the most underserved neighborhoods, won't graduate from high school. And then nationwide, you know, 15 to 20% of youth have access to after-school music programs. And here in Memphis, just 5%. And this is really, you know, where you all fill a niche and raise the opportunities for Memphis youth.
Yep. So economically, Memphis Music Initiative and the work that we do is vital for the health of the city of Memphis. Memphis is a cultural musical hub. But when you equate the amount of talent, the amount of worldwide impact that Memphis has from our music and culture to the amount of investment that happens in the city, there is a huge gap. And so we realize that as an organization, Memphis Music Initiative is helping to stimulate the economic vitality of this city by investing in our young people in arts and culture. And so it's not something that is just a hobby, but it is a necessary and vital investment for the present economy of this city, but also the future economy of the city of Memphis as it relates to creating a strong, thriving cultural economy.
So I want to elaborate on that one. You know, we're talking about opportunity for youth in terms of you know, music and learning to play an instrument, learning to be in a band, learning to write music. And it's, yes, Memphis is obviously a music hub, but there's so much more to it, as you said. So let's talk about that, because I think that is really vital to mention, the fact that we're not talking about just playing music.
Exactly.
There's so much more that goes into that, and there's so many life skills that kids learn out of learning music.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So the grantee partners that we work with, as well as other organizations in the city, become a safe haven for our youth. Many of them are able to build trusted relationships with the individuals, the mentors in these organizations, and it becomes a place where they can learn leadership skills, life skills. It helps them to achieve academically in the everyday school setting, but it is really a community grounded and rooted experience that provides support, nourishment, cultivation, development for youth on all levels. Some of our programs take a very unique approach in addressing a gamut of things. Even though they're teaching music, they are learning how to be leaders and citizens who are creating a life that they will love once they become adults. And so again, it's not just about the music and the arts that opens the door. It unlocks something in them, but it also becomes a place of developing them as thriving individuals who become thriving adults in our community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And there's also intangible things that kids learn through learning how to, again, just playing an instrument or learning how to play an instrument. There's so many other tangible things that they learn, and it's also a different outlet, right? Yeah. And talking about life skills and in their brain development as a teen, so many things that they're learning through this process.
Right. Yeah.
Like your background, we were talking before we started, is, your background is in wellness. When you look at youth, and particularly youth in this city, how does the initiatives here, how does it play into wellness for our city's youth?
So as an organization, Memphis Music Initiative, as I mentioned at its core, takes a very innovative approach to how we support the organizations, not just the organization itself, but the leaders of those organizations, realizing some of the barriers and challenges that are unique to Black-led arts organizations. It is not uncommon for executive directors or founders of organizations to be working tirelessly and not get paid. The passion is so strong that they do whatever it takes to make sure that they can provide quality programming. For us, that's a problem, because that's not how it should work. There should be an abundance of resources. And so MMI has created initiatives called Black Pay Matters, where they funded salaries for executive directors for a period of time to ensure that they did not experience lack in their own lives as they led these organizations. Alongside of that was the acknowledgement that rest is necessary to be creative. It is necessary to inspire creativity in others, and that it should be a foundational element of leadership, just like accounting and marketing. And so they created a Black Rest Matters initiative that I had the fortune of being able to help to curate that experience, where we held wellness workshops with these leaders to equip them with tools to manage stress, to be able to understand the importance of regulating your nervous system. We had several retreats where we went away, and for a week they could just exhale and be creative if they wanted to, or do nothing if they wanted to. And so the impact of that has been that these leaders are able to delegate more effectively, that they're able to continue to do their passion work and not be burned out and be sick from being burned out. And so wellness translates across the board in terms of how they are showing up as a leader, but also how they communicate and model those values to the young people they're serving, helping the young people to understand that there are tools that you can use, like mindful breathing, in a moment of stress, or if you're having a creative block. So it translates across the organization as well as across the ecosystem that we're building.
Yeah. Do you think the pandemic helped in that regard to kind of get us to slow down a bit and understand the importance of rest and all that? What do you think?
I think the pandemic marked a moment in time where we could not ignore the importance of caring for our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health. And so for some individuals, it really caused them to reevaluate their values and how they were engaging with wellness. For some people, I think it was a very difficult time because perhaps they didn't have the resources, or they didn't know how to integrate those practices in an intentional way. But I do believe it presented an opportunity for us as a society to understand that how we had been working, how we had been grinding, how we had been navigating this patriarchal culture of doing more was not a healthy way of being. And that we could shift and exist in a different way. So it did allow for a new normal to emerge. And for those who wanted to make the change and say, as a leader, I'm going to encourage a different way of living, COVID was invaluable for that. And then for others, they said, no, we're going to get back to business as normal, and that's over.
With regard to federal funding, Have you seen to this point any effects at all here at Memphis Music Initiative with regard to what's coming at us from Washington?
The biggest thing we have experienced is individuals responding to the arts as not necessarily being the priority area as far as where funding has to go. As an organization, we are unapologetic about the priority of art funding and that it should be funded the same way other kinds of priorities are, because we know the impact that arts can have on a young person's life.
Right.
As an organization, we are fully invested in continuing our mission. We are not reclassifying who we are and what we do and how we do it. And that's especially important now because some of our nonprofit organizations have been directly impacted by reduced funding because of the shifts that are happening at the federal level. And so now more than ever, it's important for us to be very clear about who we are and why we exist and that we're here for the long term.
Yeah.
But our partners, and even at the funding level, we are seeing where things have shifted drastically. And so we're having to really stay the course and helping our partners understand how to navigate during the uncertainty, how to be creative and innovative, and how to be resourceful to wade the tide that's happening. And we know things will shift. We just have to get through it now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This week, there's a particular program that started. I think it was today, right?
Well, this week is orientation week.
Yeah. So MMI Works.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk about that.
Yeah. So MMI Works is one of our programs on the direct service side. And this week we have about 30 young people who have been selected to be Works interns. And they have been placed at other arts organizations. Some of them are our grantee partners and some are other organizations in the city. But they will have an opportunity to gain real life experience of what it means to be a professional artist, how their gifts and talents can support these arts organizations. And so they'll come alongside these organizations and have an interdependent relationship over the next 4 or 5 weeks. And then at the end of the Works program this year, the young people will produce an art showcase. Again, they do this every year, but they will come together and imagine, visualize, create whatever it is creatively that they want to present to the public. And they'll do that at the end of July. They do receive a stipend for participating in this program, but most importantly, they get to build professional relationships and they get to tap into their gifts in a very significant way.
Yeah.
And so this week is orientation week. They've been here at the office and they're upstairs now just filling our office with lots of young folks' creative energy.
It just completely shifts the energy in the building.
It does.
Because typically there's a half dozen or dozen of you around the building, I think on a day-to-day basis. And
Yeah.
It fills it with energy. Speaking of the building.
Yes.
How do you like being in an old firehouse? What's that like?
I love this building. It has lots of natural light, and it's anytime I can see the outside coming in and look out and see nature peering through the window, it's perfect. But it is a very unique design that allows us to do a lot of creative things in this space. Yeah, so absolutely love it.
A lot of open space.
Yeah.
This is probably where the fire trucks would have been, I would imagine. Yeah.
And I think it's pretty providential or ironic that a firehouse could be transformed into a place of artistic and creative liberation.
Yeah.
But that's who we are and what we do. We take raw talent and just transform it into something beyond your wildest imagination.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that no one would have ever thought the fire station would now be the Memphis Music Initiative headquarters.
Right. Yeah. I remember when the word came out that this is what was the building was going to be under renovations specific for this, and it was just a joy to see that it being utilized in this way.
Yeah.
Finally, for you and for you seeing some of these kids. How important is music
Yeah. Oh my
to these
gosh.
kids and to to Memphis?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is oxygen. It's life. It is literally life for them. I'm a native Memphian, and I have seen a lot of shifts and transitions in our city as it relates to funding and disinvestment around the arts. And so many young people have the raw talent, and they just need the investment, the belief, the reinforcement, and a place of belonging. Music gives young people a place of belonging, a space of belonging.
Yeah.
And that is so critical when it comes to developing a sense of who you are. And so when I think of music, I think of oxygen, I think of breath, I think of vitality. It's the lifeline and the life force for so many of the Black and brown youth in our community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned the yoga class that you taught, a few years ago, and it's a lot of similarities, except you're expressing yourself creatively versus simply learning how to breathe. So yeah, great, good. Anything that I didn't ask that you would like to make sure that is mentioned?
I think the thing I'd like to mention is that there is a cultural explosion that's happening in the city of Memphis right now. Of course, the city has the new Office of Cultural Economy, and the most important thing that I think is asking to be happening right now is that lawmakers, decision makers understand that in order for Memphis to really elevate, to be the cultural hub that we are, it takes dollars. It takes dollars that's coming from a place of ongoing investment and commitment. And our city deserves that. Our young people deserve that. And the world deserves that in order for Memphis to continue to not have to always be striving and working really hard, but the cultural economy, the artistic economy, the artists who make that up deserve to be invested into.
So everything is Memphis.
You're watching the Library Channel, a broadcast service of the Memphis Public Libraries and the City of Memphis.